Todd McShay's latest mock draft coming up, with the Steelers making 2 picks in his 2-round mock. Before we break that down, the question of the day: who is the better Tom here at Chat Sports on Steelers Talk? Type TM for Thomas Mott or type in TD for your boy Tom Downey. Early poll results with us on the community as well. I'm winning in a landslide, so I hope I see a lot of TDs right now in the comments section. Todd McShay has put out his latest 2-round mock draft for ESPN. So today's video is breaking down the picks he made for the Steelers. Some of you will love it. Some of you guys might not feel quite the same way. First, we'll go rapid fire here. The picks previously in round 1. Aiden Hutchinson, Trayvon Walker, Kayvon Thibodeau, Garrett Wilson, maybe a surprise there, Ika Mikwanu, Kenny Pickett, Kyle Hamilton, Drake London, Evan Neal all the way down at 9. Sauce Gardner goes number 10. Chris Olave goes number 11. Derek Stingley, 12. Charles Cross, Jermaine Johnson, Trent McDuffie, Trevor Penning. A trade, Jamison Williams to the Chiefs at 17. Devin Lloyd, Jordan Davis. So nothing overtly shocking necessarily. Maybe some surprises of where those guys. But I think it's a pretty somewhat realistic first 19 players off the board, which means the pick at 20 is Malik Willis, the quarterback out of Liberty. Now, the Steelers have been rather heavily linked to QBs in this year's draft. And Willis, I believe, has the best upside in this year's class at the quarterback position. But make no mistake, that does not mean it is a guarantee he ends up being the guy for any organization, although I do think Pittsburgh is a good landing spot for a team, or for a QB, I should say, because they've got pretty good stability year over year. Now, let's break down what McShay said as to why he made the pick of Malik Willis. Quote from Todd here: all signs point towards Pittsburgh drafting a QB. And in this scenario, it doesn't even have to move up to get one of the top 2 passers in this year's class. Willis is creative outside the pocket and has a rocket arm. And I actually have him ranked 1 spot ahead of Kenny Pickett at number 21 on my big board. With Mitch Trubisky on a 1-year deal, there's no rush for Willis to play right away. And Coach Mike Tomlin could develop Willis before turning over the keys. The AFC North is stacked at QB, but Willis has the upside to get the Steelers right back in the mix. Now, Trubisky's on a 2-year deal, but there's an out after year 1, so you could give him just a year and then dump him altogether. Willis is a very, I'm going to say, controversial prospect, because Todd's right. Great outside the pocket, great arm talent. It's funny because some of his best plays, where he's making plays outside of structure, are also ones where he just misses the open guy. The blend of athletic ability and arm strength is incredibly tantalizing. This is also a player who, objectively speaking, was terrible in his last 4 games at Liberty. In fact, I think you can make a real argument he was actually better last year at Liberty than he was this past season. But he's got the dual threat that teams love, and I think is kind of important in the modern-day NFL. I can't have a statue back anymore, especially if you're a young QB where your processing is not where you need it to be. I think there's poor vision. If he hits, he's a top 10 quarterback. Or he could be kind of out of the league pretty quickly. From an athletic ability and size perspective, Tyrod Taylor. But Willis has a much better arm than Taylor does. So do you want to draft a QB in round 1? Type in Y for yes you do, or you can type in N for no. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if that ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know if you want to go QB in the first round. Now, these are my top 5 QBs in this year's class. Malik Willis is my QB1. Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, tightly packed there at 2 and 3 for me. I don't have a first-round grade on any of these quarterbacks because they're just not worth it. Frankly, I think they all would have been ranked behind Mac Jones last year, and he was a QB5. And in a normal class, maybe they're more like QB3. Matt Corral has great quick release, good arm, but he and Sam Howell both ran Mickey Mouse offenses in college where it was RPOs and play action and one reads, and they didn't actually do much from a processing standpoint. That's going to make their adjustment harder and their eval a little bit trickier. The other guys who are on the board, by the way, at number 20, I'm going to go corner, Andrew Booth, best guy there. I think Devontae Wyatt could be the best player on the board at that point. Daxton Hill, if you want to get a safety, which we'll get to in a minute here. I mentioned Ritter. Tyler Smith was the next best tackle, but it's definitely not a pick worthwhile there at number 20. Today's show is powered by BetUS. You can get a 125% deposit bonus when you use promo code Steelers125 at chatsports.com/bet. That's $100 down. Get you the deposit bonus just in case you get some bets wrong along the way. You got plenty of leftover money. No football to bet on NFL-wise, but there's NBA and the Masters this week. Tiger Woods seems like he's going to play, which is kind of awesome. Plus 5,000. If you want to risk it all on Tiger winning another major after not having played real golf for like over a year, $10 wins you 500. I myself am going with Victor Hovland this week. Use promo code Steelers125 at chatsports.com/bet. All right, round 2 time here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some notable picks who went just before that maybe Pittsburgh could pursue. David Ajay was a big name, so I wanted to mention him. If you want to go receiver, John Mechie, next one taken. Roger McCreary at corner. Perrion Winfrey at 46. Lewis Cine at 43. Picks 52, 53, 54. Not really all that notable as it relates to Pittsburgh. Sam Howell was in that conversation as well. The pick at 55 was actually Jaquan Brisker, the safety out of Penn State, who I am suspecting that at least some of you Steelers fans out there are big fans of. Fills a big-time need for the organization. The Steelers need another safety to pair with Minkah Fitzpatrick because there's not much on the depth chart right now. And I think Brisker fits really well opposite Minkah. I'm going to have Minkah play my more typical free safety role, as we know that they move around a lot still. Brisker fits more of my box strong safety role. And I think late second round is really good value for Brisker. Here's what McShay wrote. Terrell Edmunds could still re-sign in Pittsburgh, but even if he does, Minkah's entering the final year of his deal. The Steelers could use a talented safety on a cheap contract to protect against losing either or both of them. Keep Minkah, Edmunds is whatever. Brisker is at his best working near the line of scrimmage, thanks to above-average tackling skills and great instincts. We'll talk more about Brisker here momentarily, but first, what is the biggest need left for the Steelers? Is it QB, safety, or a different position altogether? Let me know in the comment section what you believe is the single biggest need left for this organization. Now, I was impressed by Brisker, both film and watching live there. A little bit older, 23 as a rookie. Again, spent most of his time in the box at Penn State, but he's really good against run. You might see, hey, he missed 10 tackles. That's a lot. It is. He was also playing through a bum shoulder, so the previous years, missed tackles weren't an issue. I am blaming the injury on that one. I don't think he can be a true deep safety for you, but he can hold up in coverage. He can do some split safety looks. I think he's instinctive, just like Todd McShay said, and I think he can be a really good player in the NFL. I have a second-round grade on him. Getting him back end of round 2 is fantastic value. You mentioned the need at safety, right? I think Brisker starts immediately, day 1, at that other safety spot with Minkah Fitzpatrick because Miles Killebrew, Trey Norwood, Donovan Steiner, yeah, those guys do not move the needle for me really at all. I think safety is one of, if not the biggest need left for this team right now. So I think that's a huge factor for the Steelers. So in the end, the picks here, Malik Willis and Jaquan Brisker, round 1 and round 2 respectively. Now that you know the picks and maybe a bit more about the prospects, grade it for me. How do you feel about Todd McShay's mock draft? A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know right now in the comments section.